Dear Heavenly Father, I want to take a moment tonight to come to you with a place of gratitude that we live in a country not torn apart by war, that we have healthcare, schools and food on the table for our families. It's easy sometimes for us to focus on what we don't have or what's not working, but when we pause to be thankful, it brings us back to a place of peace and reminds us how truly blessed we are. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Before I begin, I will acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional lands of the Whadjuk Noongar people and pay our respects to their elders past and present. Also do the disclaimer that members of the public are cautioned against taking any action on any... Sorry, I'll start again. Members of the public are cautioned against taking action on any items of council decisions, on items in which they may have an interest, until such time as they've seen a copy of the minutes of the meeting or have been advised in writing by city staff. We will be live streaming tonight, so please note that all council meetings are digitally recorded and live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, except for confidential agenda items, during which time the live stream will be temporarily suspended. It is now 7 p.m. and I declare the meeting open, and there's no announcement of visitors, and I realise that the disclaimer is read there, but never mind. Record of attendance, Councillor Adams is joining us online and Councillor Dewhurst is an apology this evening. Are there any disclosures of interest, councillors? No disclosures of interest, thank you. Announcements by the presiding member. We have an award here. The city was the recipient of the Water Efficiency Management Award for a large business at Irrigation Australia 2025. Waterwise Irrigation Expo last week. So congratulations to Alison for making this submission, and it was on Jean Garvey Park. Water Efficiency Large Business Award, City of Gosnells. The City of Gosnells master plan for a 29-hectare sporting complex includes subsoil drainage, a new infield irrigation system, iron filtration, wetting agent dosing and a weather station linked to a central controller. As a Gold Waterwise Council, the City is setting new benchmarks for irrigation efficiencies and community engagement. So congratulations to all those involved in that, and there is a... Oh, it's fitting that it's blue, I guess. There. So I'll present that to the council for Mr CEO to display proudly within the building. Thank you very much. Also to let council know that on Friday of last week I was officially selected as the chair of National Growth Area Alliance Strategic Advisory Committee, which is obviously, as we all know, it's an advocacy group for the outer growth metro councils in Australia, and I think it's fantastic for the City of Gosnells that I will now have a voice at the table representing the City of Gosnells, and also it gives me an opportunity to build relationships with federal members for the important things that are going on in the growth corridor. So that's that one. I had a SECA meeting earlier what day is it? Tuesday last week. Sorry, bit vague there. Where council voted to sign the MOU with SECA. So just to give you a little bit of an update on what we talked about, we visited the site for one of the sites that will be doing a clean-up for the cleaning of the Canning River federal grant. And just to let you all know that we do now have the funds, as the money's flowing for that now. So hopefully we can get on with all of the projects. It did take a little time, a lot of time, but anyway, it's here now. And not from the want of advocating and trying to say, where is this grant that we've been, or this election commitment, wasn't it? So, yes. So, good to see that money is now flowing through. We also, as SECA, decided that we support having a housing forum throughout the SECA region, with all the SECA member councils being involved, as well as we'll have key stakeholders involved and invited to that forum, and you'll all be getting plenty of notice of when that will be, and hopefully you're all able to attend. And we also discussed some more on polyphagous shot-hole borer about the Zones A and Zone B, but for all the technical information on that, the CEO will be sending out an MOU. So that's the SECA update, which for anyone listening is the Southeast Corridors Council Alliance, which includes Victoria Park, Canning, Gosnells and Armidale. So that is SECA. Thank you. There are no other announcements by the presiding member. Are there any reports from delegates? No? Thank you. We'll now move on to question time for the public and the receiving of public statements. Question time from Mr. Leon Walker. Mr. Walker, would you like to come forward and ask all 5 of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I understand that the Mayor said in response to a questioner some time ago that consideration would be given to a Meet the Election Candidates event for the next election. What is the result of any such consideration?
You'll be happy to know, Mr Walker, that I've had some conversations with one of our community groups, and I haven't actually had a chance to tell the councillors this yet, but the community group, which is the Austria Club in Orange Grove, have agreed to hold a candidate meet and greet on the 19th of November. So all candidates will be notified by them, as well as anyone in the community that could come along.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My
19th of September, sorry.
19th of
I was wondering why
October,
Councillor Good was looking at
late.
me so strangely. I'm like, after the election you can meet the candidates, so thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If the purchase card acquittal report for the period July 1 to July 31, 2025 is accurate, how is it that the March 24, 2025 purchase of icy poles for the, quote, library courier driver due to hot weather for the week, recommended by WHS, end quote, is included?
And Mr CEO will respond to that, thank you.
Madam Mayor, it relates to some issues which obviously I don't have before me, so I can't comment on the exact facts, but the city certainly is very keen to ensure that workers working in hot weather are appropriately hydrated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your next question?
What is the source of the WHS recommendation that the library courier driver be provided with all icy poles due to hot weather?
I think that might have just been answered, but if you have anything further to add to that, Mr CEO?
No, Madam Mayor, it's the same.
Thank you. Next.
Does the library courier driver drive an air-conditioned vehicle?
Mr CEO, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I couldn't say offhand, but they're certainly doing a lot of work outside of their vehicles as well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are other city employees or contractors, especially those working outdoors in hot weather, such as gardeners and road gangs, provided with icy poles due to hot weather?
Thank you for your question, Mr CEO.
Madam Mayor, they are certainly provided with hydration.
Are they provided with icy poles?
Hydration they are provided with. Whether that's icy poles, the CEO could let you know.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Public statement. We have a public statement from Mario Pratama, and it's to do with item number 13.2.5, which is on page 109 of the agenda. It's relating to a short-term rental accommodation at 229 Campbell Road. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to make a statement tonight. Just want to pinpoint about short-term rental accommodation regulation. I've noticed that the decision for short-term rental accommodation be seen as a tourism accommodation in a residential place. Just want to make notes that the nature of short-term rental accommodation is not solely for the purpose of tourism only. So we've had most of our guests were locals, actually, that have personal attachment to the area. They chose to stay in the area because of family that resides in the area. Some of them are taking care of their parents that live in the area. Some other people also stay because they have emergency on their house, so they have insurance claim, hence the need to get a residential nearby. So I just want to pinpoint that to be considered as well for the purpose of short-term rental accommodation. And I believe it's no different to a long-term rental as well in terms of amenities they use. They are mainly families that want the feel of a family suburbs instead of a tourism place that needs like public transport and all the amenities that have in a highly tourism area. That's my statement to be considered for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There are no further statements. Thank you. We now move on to the confirmation of the minutes. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Islam to move that, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Are there any questions on the minutes, councillors? If you could please raise your hand to vote for that, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Receiving of petitions and presentations, thank you. Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a petition. We, the undersigned electors of the City of Gosnells, request that lot 2285 Albany Highway, Gosnells, be changed from public parking to Gosnells Bowling Club parking only. This petition is on behalf of Hazel McGinty, who's the president of the Gosnells Bowling Club, and these are the reasons why. 1, no parking available for members due to the public and workers using the car park. 2, concerns regarding our elderly members who at times have to cross the highway. 3, with the completion of the new function room in September, there will be no parking for community members attending functions/events. 4, during pennant season and club bowling events, there is insufficient parking for members and visiting teams. And point 5, all other metropolitan bowling clubs have their own car parks. Madam Mayor, councillors, I table the petition and hope present for a report to be presented to council. Just wish to table it.
May I second that one? Seconder, Councillor Williamson's happy to second that. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Thank you. Councillors, are there any applications for were there any further petitions or presentations? Right. Are there any applications for leave of absence? Right. Thank you. There are no questions of which due notice has been given, so we'll move into the reports. Item 13.1.1, the extended ANZAC commemorations. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton's to move this, and a seconder. Councillor Lloyd to second this. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Thank you. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Sorry, Councillor Lloyd.
I will, just momentarily, to say that I think that this is wonderful and I want that on the record. Thank you.
Is there any further debate on this item? Councillor Betts, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I rise to speak in support of the staff recommendation to broaden the community participation and awareness through extended and educational programs leading up to ANZAC Day. And I'd also like to move an amendment which has been circulated, and the amendment reads that I, Councillor Peter Abetz, propose the following: that the staff recommendation be amended by the inclusion of a third clause, and that third clause would read that the Mayor write to the Minister for Police on behalf of the elected members, expressing the view that we believe that the police should provide traffic management for the Gosnells RSL ANZAC March on April 25th, 2026, to show their commitment to the importance of ANZAC Day as a day of remembrance and as a tangible expression of the police force's respect for those who have served our nation in the military and paid the supreme sacrifice. For the following reasons, the WA Police providing the traffic control is seen by the public as an indication of the respect that police have for the legacy of Australian service personnel. And number 2, the absence of WA Police would reflect negatively on the members of the WA Police Force. And 3, the presence of WA Police heightens the significance of ANZAC Day in the minds of the public. Do I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second that, Councillor Bett. Actually, no, I won't second that. I'll get someone else to, because I've got an amendment. Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll just speak to that amendment briefly. I'd like to preface my comments on this with what I experienced, because I'd like to remind councillors that ANZAC Day has not always been as popular as it is today. In fact, in the 1980s, I will remember that it was being said that ANZAC Day was going the way of the dodo. That's an animal that's gone extinct, in case you don't know what a dodo is. Because the attendances at ANZAC services was extremely small. And I can recall as a young pastor in Dandenong, Victoria, the RSL asked the Minister's Fraternal to provide or delegate a pastor to lead in the saying of the Lord's Prayer at the ANZAC dawn service in the main street. The war memorial was in the middle of the main street. And sadly, not one minister volunteered, so it was agreed to let the RSL know that they couldn't help. Now, I was as a young pastor, I thought, I can't volunteer because I'm German born and my father fought on the wrong side. So I felt I couldn't volunteer, but I felt really bad about the fact that no minister was volunteering to do it. So I plucked up the courage and I rang the RSL president, who I'd never met before, and explained to him that I would like to lead the Lord's Prayer, but I had a little problem. And that is that I'm actually related to Rommel, and my father fought on the wrong side of the war. And he simply laughed on the other end of the phone and said, "Peter, do I have to remind you the war is over?" So that was very nice. And so during my time as a pastor in Dandenong, I always was the one who led in the Lord's Prayer. But I can tell you that there was barely 50 people that turned up to the dawn services in the mid-1980s. But things have certainly turned around, and many Australians look to ANZAC Day as being a day to remember and to honour the legacy of Australian service personnel, and also to celebrate our identity as a nation. And I think this turnaround has been in part a reaction to the perhaps inaccurate and black armband version of our history that's being peddled by some academics and sometimes in our schools. And I believe that as a nation we have much to be proud of, and anything that we can do to make our community more aware of the fact that our democratic freedoms were hard won and fought for by those who went before us is certainly worthy of our consideration. In light of that, I believe that I think it's inappropriate for the police to claim that they don't have the resources available to provide that little bit of traffic management that's needed for the Gosnells Anzac Day March. And hence, I've moved this amendment and I seek your support for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Councillor Lloyd is the seconder. Would you like to speak to the amendment? Would anybody else like to speak to the amendment? Councillor McDonald, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd be speaking against this amendment for a number of reasons. I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiments of the amendment in full. I absolutely support the substantive motion and its intent. However, I think the police have given a reason that they're not able to give a guarantee of providing police simply because, and as a former long-serving police officer myself in my current duties, I'm very close to police resources, and I think the reason that they've been unable to commit to providing resources is on that basis that they have competing priorities, and they simply can't say with any kind of surety that they can provide people to perform this function. And of course, the other alternative is to pay for that service, which is quite often done. The police provide resources, police officers, to perform functions of their office as under a user pay system. And I'm just in regards to the motion itself, that the police can show their commitment to the importance of Anzac Day and as a day of remembrance and a tangible expression of the police force's respect for those who've served our nation. As a police officer, I've marched in many Anzac Day parades in full uniform, and I can tell you that happens at every Anzac Day parade across the state. And the days of remembrance is something all too familiar with police officers, and today is a sad and traumatic reminder of that in Victoria. God rest their souls. So just in the practicality sense, I'm just not sure that, there's no costings associated with this amendment, so I don't know that it's going to be any cheaper to ask the police minister to give an undertaking to provide policing resources. So I think I'm pretty covered. I can't support this motion the way it's, this amendment the way it's written up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Did anybody else want to speak to this item? Thank you, Councillor Good.
I wish to speak to the item, Mayor Lyons, and also ask a question. If, for example, well, who does all the police traffic controlling now? Is it the police?
It's privately done, isn't it? Oh, currently for the ANZAC service, who does the traffic controlling?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we actually engage an external traffic management consultant to do the traffic management, because the police can't guarantee that the resources will be available, so we can't really wait to see if the resources are available.
Follow-up question, does that mean therefore, because I see them all the time at every ANZAC, that the police themselves will march and be involved in the parade? Can you confirm that?
If they're around, yeah. Yeah. Did you want to try and confirm that?
I think we can't.
Yeah. If they're there, yeah.
Okay, in that case, no more questions, other than the comment that I certainly can understand Councillor McDonald's viewpoint here, and the fact that what I'm getting at is every time I've seen ANZAC and been at ANZAC days, is that I actually want to see the police themselves marching and being involved in the parade themselves, rather than, quite frankly, wasting their time with a huge amount of traffic management. I'd rather volunteers or other people doing the actual traffic management and have the police more involved. So I tend to agree with Councillor McDonald's viewpoint, and therefore at this stage I will be against the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to speak in favour of the amendment. I understand what you're both saying as far as the involvement of the police, and I too would like to see them march as well. But if I'm hearing correctly, what I'm hearing, Councillor McDonald, no, and I'll take your word on this, is that if the police are paid to do this, they'll make sure they're there. But if they're not paid to do this, they can't guarantee they will be there. Because it's a paid-for service. Sorry, I don't know if I can ask a councillor to clarify that, but that's what I'm hearing from your debate, Councillor McDonald. No need to clarify. That's what I'm hearing from the debate. It seems that if we want to pay them, then we can make sure that they're there, but if we don't pay them, we can't guarantee that they'll be there. We can ask them. Well, fair enough. Anyway, I would hope that if it was the case that it just came down to the fact that if they were paid or not paid, that they would decide just to be there without actually having to be paid to be there. And this is not on any police officer local or any office local. I realise this comes down from further above. It would just be nice to have some more certainty over this, and I think it is, for all the reasons that Councillor Betts has mentioned, it's important to have our police officers present and part of the service. So I'll be supporting your amendment, Councillor Betts. Is there any further debate? Councillor Williamson, thank you. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I came into this seeing what this proposed amendment was with one idea in my head, and hearing Councillor Betts speak, I was in agreement. Hearing Councillor McDonald speak and considering his first-hand knowledge of police resourcing and the competing demands, I think he's raised some really valid points about if there was an emergency, would you prefer the police to respond to the community emergency, or would we prefer them standing controlling traffic? I think that is what's going through my head at the moment, and I think my answer to myself is I prefer our police resources responding to an emergency in the community, and I would prefer to know with certainty that we have traffic management in place guaranteed for public safety through the entire event. If the police, something was to happen unforeseen and they had to be called away, I wonder what that impact would be. We don't have all the answers, but I think paying the $7,000 gives us that guarantee that someone's in place closing those roads where we have mass crowds, and we can ensure that everyone in that crowd is kept safe from a traffic management point of view. And I think knowing many police officers, I think whether they're rostered on or not, many do attend the ANZAC Day services in their own personal sense. So I think it's a little bit unfair to presume that if the WA police are not there managing traffic, that it's a negative, that should be perceived negatively on the WA police force. I think a number of the members actually attend, and we've always had officers in their uniforms attending, and that's without doing the traffic management. So I think at the moment, and I've just come to this conclusion, I'll be voting against the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Dalton. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would also like to just state that I won't be supporting the amendment, and for the reasons very similar, in that what I know about the traffic management in the police department, it is a pay-for-service for police officers that are on leave or aren't working, aren't rostered on. So that then provides for that particular service for people to, they're not going to be rostered on, so they wouldn't be able to leave or go away. But what I'm more interested in is for those police officers that are not rostered on to actually be marching within the service. So I won't support the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dalton. Is there any further debate on this item, councillors? Councillor Betts, if you'd like to close. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Councillor Islam.
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to ask the questions. When we provide this traffic management, how long is this for? The program for the traffic management component. If I can ask a question.
Deputy. Oh my gosh, I'm so off my game tonight. Director for community engagement, even. Thank you. Need some sleep.
Through you, Madam Mayor. It's for the entire time that the Albany Highway is actually, that people are marching down Albany Highway.
Okay, just follow-up question on this. How many police officers would we require to do this traffic management?
Oh, I don't know, Councillor Islam. Usually it's a police car at either end managing the traffic with probably a couple of officers in each car.
All right, thank you.
Is there any further debate or questions? Councillor Betts, if you'd like to close, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Having been at the marches just about every year, I think, the time that the police are there, the march commences at, I think it's, if I remember rightly, it's 6:30, and we march down that little bit of Albany Highway, and so the road is blocked for barely half an hour. So it would involve the police being perhaps not being available to go to an emergency thing for that half-hour period. But I'd just like to remind people that, for example, in Parliament House, there's always 2 police officers walking around Parliament House. That's just one of the things that the services that the police provide. And no matter what's going on anywhere else in the state, those 2 police officers are rostered there. That's their job for the day, or for their shift, or whatever it is. And I think I appreciate the issue that Councillor McDonald and others have raised in terms of the police being, their resources are limited. I appreciate that, but I think that ANZAC Day is something really important, and so I believe that writing to the Minister, expressing the view that the police should provide that, I think is not over the top. I think it's a reasonable request of the Police Minister to give that consideration, and if they come back and say no, we can't, well, so be it. But I do think that ANZAC Day warrants the presence of the police in an official capacity, and as far as I can remember, the police never march as a contingent in the ANZAC Day march, as that I can recall, but I stand to be corrected. I may just simply not have noticed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Councillors, if you could cast your vote on the amendment, please. 3, thank you. That has been lost, the amendment. So we go back to the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item? I have got an amendment. Oh, Councillor Good. Oh, thank you. I realise I'm in a forgetful mood tonight. That's what happens when I miss a council meeting. I have an amendment. That I, Mayor Lyons, propose the following, that the staff recommendation be amended by the inclusion of the following additional parts. That the Chief Executive Officer be requested to identify opportunities to name parks within the city after service personnel, particularly city residents who served in the armed forces and saw active duty. That's one. And the other one, number 4, would be that the Chief Executive Officer be requested to explore opportunities to expand the current memorial in the Civic Centre Gardens to better reflect all wars and conflicts in Australia that has been involved, for the following reasons: that whilst a city always supported ANZAC Day, Remembrance Day and the Gosnells RSL, we could always do more to recognise those that served in the armed forces. So I'm seeking a seconder on that. Councillor McDonald, happy to second that, thank you. And I'll just speak to that now, is that as we all know, ANZAC Day does remain one of the most significant days in our calendar. A dawn service is powerful, but I believe a week of activities along with the other, I'll just continue, will give our community more time to reflect, participate and honour those that served. This is, tickle. I will disclose this is actually a little bit personal to me because many of my ancestors fought for this country and some of them never returned. But this is not about me because there are many people within the city of Gosnells and across WA and Australia and throughout our nation, of course, where the ANZAC story is woven into all of us. So some of us attended the Gosnells the Governor's prayer breakfast earlier this week, where the Governor stated that the world is not a stable place as it used to be. And at the same time, we're seeing record numbers of Australians joining the Defence Forces. This tells us 2 things: that service remains as important as ever, and we have a responsibility to set the tone for the future, to show our servicemen and women that their sacrifice and their commitment is valued. And that's why, alongside, I'm hoping and I'm thinking that you're going to be supporting the week of activities. I think it fitting that we identify a park in our city to name someone in honour of someone who served, and also that we look at ways to make the monument more appealing and more of an educational piece. I did have a conversation earlier today with one of the directors who may or may not remain nameless, but he threw out there that we could even rename the Civic Centre Gardens to ANZAC Park, which I didn't think was a terrible idea, but we shall see what comes back from this report if this amendment gets passed. So this isn't just about respect for the past, it's for those serving now and for future generations who will carry on the ANZAC spirit. So I ask you to support the amendment. Thank you, councillors. If there's anyone that would like to speak to the amendment. Councillor McDonald, thank you. As a seconder.
Yes, just briefly, I just wanted to congratulate and thank you, Mayor, and the staff for bringing this motion forward. It really does strike a chord. And also these thoughtful amendments, and I really think it's a terrific thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Would any councillor Good? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. I'm very supportive of the amendment, and I also want to make comment about the fact that, yes, a lot of people in this chamber have no doubt had relatives, could be grandparents, could be uncles, very close brothers, etc. 2 years ago, I had a brother who served in the armed forces in the army for 20 years. He passed away, unfortunately, 2 years ago, but I got to see and hear a lot about their services during their time in the army. But I particularly love the fact of, on clause 4, to expand the current memorial in the Civic Centre Gardens, and whether it's an anecdotal quip or not, but the fact of renaming it something could actually be a very good idea, but very strongly supportive of this. The more that we can do for ANZAC Day and not simply, if you like, forget about it by 10 a.m. and move on, because it's always in the morning, but wouldn't it be good to actually have more activities and to recognise all of us who've had uncles and aunties and all different types of members of family on my mother's and brother's side, father's side, uncles, great uncles had served, and thinking, yeah, it's great that we could think of ways to support them. And also the ANZAC Day itself is something which we should be proud to commemorate those who've suffered the ultimate sacrifice. So I commend the amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Would anybody else like to speak to the amendment? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too would like to support this motion and congratulate the Mayor on this and the staff. I think this is a very worthy commemoration, and I think the opportunity to expand across the week as well as have places within the city as a constant reminder is of value. And I think point 4, where it's reflecting all wars and conflicts in which Australia has been involved, I think sometimes that's forgotten. It's forgotten, and we think it was a very long, long time ago that there were wars. As a daughter of a serviceman who was injured and was fortunate enough to come home alive, I can tell you the suffering didn't end when he did come home. So I think it is really important to remember the impact of war goes far beyond those big wars. It goes far beyond coming home or not going home. And I think it's a stark reminder to everyone why there are no winners in war. So I think the more we have to remind us of that, the better for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anybody else like to speak to the amendment? No, I don't think I need to close. I think that was kind of a good close right there on that. So, councillors, if I could ask you to vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. And now we put the amendment back with the original item. Is there any further debate or on the original item? No? Okay, thank you, councillors. If you could cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Very good. Okay, we'll now move on to what I might actually do is I'm going to move to the item around the draft local planning policy and come back to the other two, if that's okay. Councillors, do I need to vote on that or I can just do it? Yeah, I'll just do it. So we'll move to the 13.22, the draft local planning policy 1.5, unhosted short-term rental accommodation adoption for advertising. Can I get a mover for this, please? Sorry, it's 13.2.2. It's for the planning policy for the draft local planning policy 1.5 unhosted short-term rental accommodation. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Good, thank you. Sorry, I didn't. Councillor Good. Thank you, Councillor Good. A seconder? Councillor Baines. Councillor Good, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Baines, would anybody else like to speak to this item? Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move a procedural motion that this item under consideration be deferred for discussion at the next elected member workshop for the following reason. The location criteria included in the policy would enable the development of unhosted short-term rental accommodation across a significant portion of the city. Some of the areas include cul-de-sacs and quiet residential streets, which may not be appropriate for unhosted STRAs. That's the abbreviation. Further, in the midst of a housing crisis, allowing the development of unhosted STRAs across such a significant portion of the city has the potential to exacerbate the crisis, particularly if other local governments adopt a similar approach. Finally, whenever the city has consulted on proposed unhosted STRAs, proposals have been overwhelmingly against these proposals. Council needs to be careful to ensure that unhosted STRAs can only be developed in parts of the city that will have the least impact on residents. This means we need to get the policy settings right from the outset, and at the moment I believe the policy would permit unhosted STRAs in unsuitable locations. So I'm seeking a seconder.
Councillor Lloyd's happy to second that.
Thank you. So I'll speak a little bit further for this. I think deferring this motion allows us as a council to discuss what scenarios are in place. I think we've heard tonight in the public gallery through a public statement that there's many reasons other than tourism that warrant having STRAs. But I think what we need to do is balance that with what the impact is on residential homes and families and on housing available for rental or for purchasing within our community. So I think when it comes back to us, we can consider the figures around what it is. At the moment, I believe what has been proposed here is about 10,000 houses could potentially be permitted to be straws. So that's about a quarter of our residential houses, which is a significant amount. So I think we're better off going away, getting our policy actually right before it goes out for public advertising to the community, because we've got the facts and figures that the community doesn't necessarily have access to. So I ask for your support for the deferral.
Thank you, councillors. No debate on this, so if you could please cast your vote on the deferral. Thank you. That item has been deferred. Now, councillors, I'm sorry to do this to you, but now we're going to go to 13.2.5, which is the development application for the change of use to residential buildings at 229 Lot 212 Campbell Road in Canning Vale. Seeking a mover for this, please. Councillors, a mover. Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. A seconder, Councillor Adams. Is there any, Councillor Lloyd, would you like to speak to this item? Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Sorry, Councillor Goody on the right. You're right. Anyone else like to speak to this item? No. Councillors, if you could cast your vote on the recommendation for that one. Councillors, please. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Back to that one. Sorry? What did you say? Look, another one. Yeah. Yeah. We'll now move on to 13.2.6, the development application for the change of use of a residential building at 536 Balfour Street, Southern River. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton to move this and Councillor Islam to second this. Councillors, is there any debate on this item? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. So for those that are listening at home for this, in the gallery that may know, the staff recommendation has been carried by the council, and that is that the applications are refused. So just so you are free to go now if you want to, or you're happy to, you can stay around if you would like. You will get some mail you will get a notice in the mail about that. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to item number 13.2.3. Sorry? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. That's why you're saying that. 13.1.2, the corporate business plan for 2025 to 2029. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Islam to move this. Seconder? Councillor Dalton, thank you. 13.1.2, the corporate business plan. So I've got the mover and the seconder. Thanks, Councillor Dalton. Make sure I'm on the right page now. Who's the mover? Who's the mover? Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? No. Councillor Williamson, I see you have an amendment here. Would you like to move that now? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have an amendment. It's on the green paper for everyone. I, Councillor Serena Williamson, propose that the staff recommendation be amended as follows, subject to the addition of a new action. 1.3.7, offer a community waste drop-off day, with the action to be the responsibility of infrastructure and for it to occur in years 2025-26 and 2026-27. For the following reason: this year's community waste drop-off day was very successful, with 495 vehicles dropping off a large amount of waste materials, including paint in kilos, 4,435, oil litres, 3,000, household chemicals kilos, 435, polystyrene metres cubed, 1, cardboard tonnes, 1, tyres disposal, 682. I've got an entire list which will be which will be in the minutes. This successful initiative should continue until the Community Recycling and Education Centre is established, which is expected to be completed in 2 years. So I seek a seconder.
Councillor Betts, thank you.
Thank you. So the community has really taken to this initiative, and I think it's one that we should continue, because taking these out of circulation in the community means households are safer, sheds are safer, and we're getting less of this dumped on the side of the road or in our bushland. So I think we should continue until the point we have the Community Recycling Education Centre built, which I believe is in the next couple of years. That's in the process. And then it would be shifted to that location. So yeah, I ask your support for that motion, that amendment. Thank you.
I'm glad I'm not the only one getting tongue-tied tonight. The seconder was Councillor Dalton. Did you want to speak to that? No, you don't have. Councillor Betts, sorry. Sorry. Councillor Betts, you're the seconder. No, I was just scratching myself. Sorry. That's fine. I'm going to give you the option to speak to this item as you were the seconder. Would you like to speak to this amendment?
Well, I want to say it's a great initiative. I thank Councillor Williamson for moving this amendment. I think it's a great initiative and worthy of our support. And once the community recycling facility is there, we won't need these anymore because people can drop it off there at any time. So that'll be much better than having drop-off days. But until then, let's go for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Would anybody else like to speak to the amendment? Councillor Lloyd, thank you.
I wanted to also just applaud the point, the adding in of this, because it is something that one of the complaints I hear a lot from the community is we don't have a tip, we don't have somewhere where you can take your things. And I think that just by actually putting it in as an action, we're going to be able to give a response now to those community members that do have those complaints to say, well, we're going to be keeping this for the next few years. So well done, Deputy Mayor Williamson.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, would you like to close if there was no further debate? No. Councillors, if you could cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Is there any further debate on the... Thank you, Councillor Baines. I see you have an amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I, Karen Baines, propose that the staff recommendation be amended as follows. Subject to the addition of a new action, 2.2.5, offer CCTV rebates to residents, with the action to be the responsibility of community engagement and for it to occur in the year 2025-26. For the following reason, the City has offered $500 rebates for a couple of years now, and these have been very successful. This program is continuing this year and should be included in the document.
I seek a seconder. Councillor Lloyd to second that. Sorry, Councillor, would you like to speak further on the item?
I just want to acknowledge the success of the rebate and would like to encourage the community to continue to utilise it to contribute to the safety of their own property and that of the neighbourhood. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Baines. The seconder. Would you like to speak? Would anybody else like to speak to the amendment? Councillor Good, thank you. I can't see your piece of paper.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. More of a question, actually, on this one. Any indication, continuing to do this, is there an end date in sight, meaning when we reach either saturation point or whether there's sufficient CCTVs? Any thoughts?
Mr CEO might like to respond to that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I think it's important to check every year as to how the rebates are going. I think we don't want to lock it in for too long because we may find that it's reached saturation points. So I think it is important that we revisit every year, and that's why the suggestion putting it in for this year is appropriate. And then I think we revisit.
Thank you. Is there Councillor Lloyd? Thank you.
I wanted to ask a question, actually, it just triggered for me, is do we actually have a map of where those houses are? Because it just made me think if we're giving a lot of rebates, say, just in a little cluster of the city rather than them being spread out, do we have any feedback or a map showing where those are? Doesn't need to be for today, but just out of interest.
I'll ask the Director for Community Engagement if she has that map or that information.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, we do have those maps. Unfortunately, because it's linked up to the police CAM map system, we can't release those maps publicly, but we have shown them before at elected member workshops. So we can do that again if that's the desire of elected members.
Thank you. Is there any further debate on this item, councillors? Would you like to close? Councillor Baynes? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. I too have an amendment. The amendment is that Mayor Theresa Lyons, propose that the staff recommendation be amended as following, and it's following the rewording of action 3.3.1 as follows. Continue to advocate for funding for an aquatic facility which meets the needs of the city's rapidly growing community for the following reasons. The city's current aquatic facility is too small to cater for the city's rapid population growth. Aquatic facilities are extremely expensive, and to service our community effectively, advocacy for far greater financial support is needed. And I'm seeking a seconder for that. Councillor McDonald to second that. Thank you. Councillors, this is within on 3.3.1, which currently reads, provide aquatic and recreational program services to meet the needs of the diverse community. But I would say that we are not in a position at the moment to meet the needs of the diverse community, let alone the wider community. There are massive wait lists on our aquatic facilities, and I just want to take the opportunity to tweak this and reword it because this is for the wider community as well, and we can't even meet the needs of the wider community, let alone to meet the needs of the diverse community, which all are important, I say, but I'm just saying that this wording doesn't cover what we need to have happen in our city. We desperately need a bigger pool. I was talking to the CEO actually for the City of Canning, who was telling me that how big their wait lists are, and he suspects that half of them are from our city. So obviously the pressure is going on our neighbours as well. So thank you very much, City of Canning, and possibly happening at the City of Armidale as well. And our pools as well have got wait lists as well, and I think that maybe the Deputy Mayor could attest to the fact that she's got to go out of area to get swimming lessons for her children as well. So we do have a need for a pool, and I think that we need to capture this in the document, that we're not able to meet the current needs and demands, and to also be making sure we are advocating for that aquatic centre in the city. So I'm happy to finish on that, but as the seconder is Councillor McDonald. Would you like to speak to this amendment, Councillor McDonald? Would anybody else like to speak to this amendment? Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. Fully supportive of the amendment, but particularly the fact of it's a corporate business plan, and therefore, by definition, we all need to get this out well and truly and do more advocating. So by you doing this, it's actually reminded, I guess, all of us that it shouldn't just sit in a drawer and pretending it's not around, but we should use this really powerfully as an advocacy, because we've just got to either keep nagging and nagging and nagging until they realise there's 141,000 people here. And this is for 4 years, 2025 to 2029. We just have to keep pressuring and pressuring until we get the response. And as you quite clearly identified, so many of our residents do go to Canning and Armidale and probably Coburn as well. We need the facility. So it's a good thing that we update it, relook at it and go, guys, we all need to step up on our advocacy big time.
Thank you. Is there any further debate on the amendment, councillors? I have nothing further to add. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. That has been carried. Now we put the 3 amendments back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item, which is 13.1.2, the corporate business plan for 2025 to 2029? No further debate on that. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Now move on to 13.1.3, the 2-year minor review of the strategic community plan. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Zhang, thank you. A seconder, Councillor Singh, thank you. Councillor Zhang, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Singh, would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We now move on to 13.2.1, the draft local planning policy 1.4 parking final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Thank you, Councillor Dalton. To seconder, Councillor Betts. Thank you. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? No? I would just like to make a comment in this, in that I see on the table that some of the businesses or some of the workplaces are required to provide end-of-trip facilities when there are multiple people riding bikes, or they're providing bike spaces for people, and I just thought it interesting that I'm assuming that this comes from some sort of direction from the state government, but I would note that we have just had a lot of new train stations built in the city with plenty of bike racks and bike parking, and there are no end-of-trip facilities there. So people would be ideal to have had end-of-trip facilities at the train station so that people riding their bikes could shower and freshen up before they got on the train and proceeded to sweat and be inconvenient to people they're sitting next to. I'd just like to make a point of that, really, that could have happened and should have happened. So any further debate or questions on this item, councillors? No? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Yeah. Jumping out and jumping in. 13.2.3. The draft local planning policy 1.6 for industrial and commercial development. Adoption for advertising. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Baines to move this, and Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson to second this. Councillor Baines, any debate? Councillor Deputy Mayor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll speak in support of this draft local planning policy, and I'd like to thank the staff for preparing this. It provides greater certainty for anyone doing development, and particularly what I liked to see in this was the landscaping requirements. So we've got greater certainty of the size of trees, plants that will go in, as well as one of the things that, and Councillor Good would recall this as well, with DAP applications where we have childcare centres being built next door to residential houses. At the moment, we have a bit of a gap in our policy where they don't need a masonry wall, that they can get acoustic reports and have a colour-bond fence with a bit of filling in it. I don't know the technical words, to dampen the noise, but this policy will now require a better outcome. So if you do have a daycare or something come next to your residential house, you'll have a higher wall to give you that privacy, to reduce the noise, as well as reducing the noise. So I think it's a better outcome in the areas, and it's really great to have the waste management included in this policy as well. So I thank the staff for that, and I look forward to it coming back for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any further debate on this? I just have a couple of things to say, in that it's always good when I can agree with the Deputy Mayor, so I agree with what she has said there, but I also did have a question. I know that there is a section in there where it talks about incentives are given if developers are able to retain trees, and I wonder how we would get that message out. I guess it means that they don't have to do as much landscaping if they're able to retain more mature trees. And I just wonder how we get that message out to them before they start doing their development around removing that tree, so they know that there is that incentive. So thank you for that answer that you're about to give me.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's probably three areas we could probably address this. One would be on our website through our information sheets and our application checklists. We would make sure it's known that anyone developing, that this is available. Secondly, in our pre-lodgement advice, we have a lot of meetings as well as our phone calls with potential applicants, but we would obviously be promoting that through that. And also through our design review panel process, which captures development applications at the very earliest stage for commercial development. If they meet the threshold, we'll be promoting that through there, so they're considering trees at the very earliest stage of the design of the building.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. I have nothing further. Is there any further debate or questions on this item, councillors? No? If you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now move on to 13.2.4, the draft modified local planning policy 2.2 for outbuildings and sea containers, final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton to move this, and seconder. Councillor Lloyd to second this. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Lloyd? I have an amendment if no one else. Councillor McDonald, thank you.
I actually have the amendment.
Do you?
It was given to me.
Go ahead.
I, Councillor Kevin McDonald, propose the following. that the staff recommendation be amended by the inclusion of the following additional part. That clause 3.2b of draft modified local planning policy 2.2, outbuildings and sea containers be modified from 12 months to the duration of the building permit so that the planning and building exemptions are aligned as per the following. A landowner may, after obtaining a relevant building permit to undertake significant building work, place a sea container on a property for the purposes of securing construction tools and materials for the period of construction without requiring planning approval for the duration of the building permit, a period of up to 12 months or other time as agreed to in writing by the city. And further, following new clauses as tabled, I can recite them if you'd like, or they are tabled there in the amendment.
Yes, I'm happy to second your amendment. Thank you. I would like to speak to your amendment if that's okay. I would like to ask you if you'd be okay to scrap the words within the paragraph that says a period up to 12 months or other time as agreed in writing by the city, and this allows this to align because they can get a building permit for 2 years. So if you're okay with just removing those words, I'll be happy to support this.
Happy with that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No? Councillors, would you like to close? Councillor McDonald? No? Okay, councillors, if you could cast your vote on the amendment, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Now put the amendment back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item, councillors? No further debate? Okay, thank you. If you could please cast your vote. Thank you, that has been carried. We'll now move on to item number 13.2.7. We're just jumping around a little bit, sorry. Which is the 13.2.7 is the budget variation for Southern River Precinct 3 Development Contribution Plan reimbursement for common infrastructure costs. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Islam to move this. I'll make sure everyone's hand up to second it. Councillor Betts, thank you, seconding it. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Betts? No? Is there any debate on this, councillors? If you could please cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Now have item 13.4.1, the Council Policy Review for Community Grants Program Policy CP 3.2.2. Can I get a mover for this, please? Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson, thank you, and a seconder, Councillor Zhang. Thank you very much, Councillor Zhang. Councillor Williamson, would you like to speak to this item? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to thank the staff for revising this policy, and I particularly like the way that it aligns and gives examples of grant opportunities to our strategic direction. I think it provides greater clarity for not-for-profit groups. Just on the weekend, I was at an event with a not-for-profit group and I was chatting to them about community grants, and they were actually providing some feedback in how they were deciding on what grants to apply for, and that they had provided feedback that they looked at the grants that we had available and they did have ideas of things that they could do. But when they actually took the time to have a look at past grant recipients and had a look at how many people were benefiting from that grant and what type of grants were available. And when they looked at that, they realised that what they were going to apply for, although genuine, would have been applicable under this, realised that maybe there are other initiatives out in the city in other groups that are actually going to have more of an impact, and realising that as a council we have limited funds, and so they actually made the decision to not apply for a grant because they thought, well, they can raise those funds themselves, and they thought there was a greater impact potentially of other groups. And I think one of the things was having this strategic direction, it then provides that guidance to staff as well when they're assessing. We may get lots and lots of grant applications. How do you determine which one to actually provide the limited funds to. And I think if it fits and can hit a lot of our targets, then that makes the job much easier for our staff. So I like this new policy and I encourage councillors to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any further debate on this item? Councillor Dalton, you have an amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I have an amendment to the motion for 13.4.1. I, Councillor Kylie Dalton, propose the following: that the staff recommendation be amended by the inclusion of the following additional part. That Council endorses the revised Council Policy 3.2.2 grant program subject to the following changes to Category 4, Education Scholarships. High schools, a scholarship of $500 is available to one student from each of the high schools located within the City of Gosnells and public high schools whose local intake area includes students residing within the City of Gosnells. For the following reasons, reasons to be included in the minutes: there are a number of students residing in the City of Gosnells attending the two public high schools which are located outside of the boundary of the City of Gosnells. These students should also be eligible to receive an education scholarship to assist with their educational costs.
Can you second a seconder? Happy to second that. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to it?
No, that's okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to support that amendment. Is there any debate on this item, councillors? Councillor Lloyd and then Councillor Lloyd and then Councillor Betts. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. What I'm trying to clarify in my brain is, are we saying that just because a City of Gosnells resident attends that school, that there will be a $500 scholarship available to any student within that school? Or are we saying that it will be specifically given to a student who is a City of Gosnells resident? Because the way this is worded just means that, because we don't pick the student that it goes to, the school does. So how will we justify giving money to a student that's not a resident?
It says students residing within the city.
But it says that to the school where a student attends, but it doesn't say specifically to a student resident.
I will let the Director for Community Engagement tell you the technical answer to that, but my understanding is the school is advised to pick someone that is from the City of Gosnells. If you've got anything further to add to that, Director Blake, that probably answers it.
That's correct, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you. And Councillor Betts? Okay, thank you. That's gone then. Is there any further debates or questions on the amendment, councillors? Would you like to close, Councillor Dalton? That's okay. Thank you, councillors. If you could cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now put the amendment back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item with the amendment, councillors? No? If you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now move on to 13.5.1, the monthly finance report. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Good, thank you, and Councillor McDonald to second that. Councillor Good, would you like to speak? Councillor McDonald, is there any questions or debate on this item, councillors? No? If you could please cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.2, the payment listing for July 2025. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton to move this, Councillor Singh to second this. Is there any debate or questions on this item, councillors? Right, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. We now have a number of panels and tenders, which I was wanting to move on block. So I was moving 13.53 to 13.57 together. Can I get a mover for those, councillors? Councillor McDonald to move that and Councillor Zhang to second that. Councillors, as we've moved them all on block, there's no debate on this. So councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Now move on to 13.5.8, the budget variation for the stormwater pipelining. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Singh to move this and Councillor Adams to second this. Would you like to speak to this item, Councillor Singh? Councillor Adams, is there any other debate or questions on this item, councillors? If you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Move on to 13.5.9, the budget variation for the Southern River Business Park landscaping. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Baynes, thank you, and seconder Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson. Councillor Baynes, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Williamson. Is there any debate or questions on this item, councillors? I do just have a question for the Acting Director for Infrastructure on this item, and I note that there are two parks within this, the Southern River Business Park, and both of them are named after people that served in the wars, and I wondered, would the city be planning on putting plaques in those parks to say who they are and what their story is? Thank you.
So through you, Madam Mayor, that's certainly something that we can consider.
Okay, thank you. That would be quite fitting on tonight. Thank you. Any further questions or debate on this item? No. Thank you. Councillors, will you please cast your vote? Thank you. We should have congratulated the staff on their ingeniousness on that, but anyway, we've passed it now, so it's gone. 13.5.10, the proposed amendments to the Delegation 1.27 debts waiver, concessions or write-off. Can I get a mover for this, please? I'm happy to move it since it's International Dog Day. Is there a seconder? Councillor Dalton to second this? Look, as the mover, I will speak to it, and then I think that this is just something that is part of the parcel, and I think this definitely should occur, so I support the officer's recommendation on this. Councillor Dalton, if you would like to speak to this item. Is there any further debate on this item? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We now move on to the urgent business item, which is item 15.1, the budget variation for the playground and barbecue facilities at Aldenham Park. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Islam to move this and Councillor Betts to second this. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to this item? What did I miss? I missed number 14. I wondered if that was what we had to do. Yeah. So we are going to start again on this, councillors. So first of all, I'm going to say that item number 14, there are no motions of which previous notice has been given. And item 15, we have an item of urgent business, which I need a mover so that we can deal with the item of urgent business. So can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Islam to move that and Deputy Mayor Williamson to second that. Councillors, will you please cast your vote on dealing with the item of urgent business? Thank you. That has been carried. We now go back to the item which is item 15.1, the budget variation for the playground and barbecue facilities at Aldenham Park, of which I had mover as Councillor Islam and seconder as Councillor Betts. Are you both happy to continue with that? Thank you. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Betts? Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor, you have an amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I propose the following amendment, that the staff recommendation be amended to read, Recommendation 1, that Council adjust the 2025-26 budget to include $150,000 for the provision of a barbecue, shade, picnic table and modest nature play equipment at Aldenham Park, and Recommendation 2, that Council adjusts the 2025-26 budget to include $180,817 for the provision of a barbecue, picnic tables and an active sporting element for older children, teenagers and adults at Tiger Circle Reserve, adjacent to Creek Way, with a report detailing options for active sporting elements prepared for the Council meeting on 23rd of September 2025 for the following reason. The report to the Council meeting on 25th of March 2025 dealing with the petition requested a barbecue at Creepway Park, we call it Tiger Circle Reserve, or Flowerfield Circle Park, which we call Aldenham Drive Reserve, indicated that the cost of a barbecue, shade and picnic table would be approximately $60,000. Therefore, a budget of $150,000 for Aldenham Park should also allow for the installation of a modest nature play elements that could complement the existing environment and site constraints. Following the announcement of the Aldenham Park upgrades, there has been a consistent and clear request from the community that active sporting elements should be included in the park upgrades, as there has been a long-term deficiency of these options in Southern River. As Aldenham Park presents drainage challenges and is not appropriate for this purpose, it is logical to use the council funding to upgrade a park in close proximity that can accommodate the community's requests. As such, the part of Tiger Circle Reserve adjacent to Creekway would be an appropriate location for active sporting elements such as a multi-use pickleball, badminton, volleyball area that appeals to the older children, teenagers and adults. This area should also include barbecue facilities, bench seating and a table to encourage greater community use, community connection and supervision. So I seek a seconder.
Councillor Williamson, if you'd like to speak to it, thank you.
Thank you. So as the report states, we had designs presented to us at a councillor workshop, and at that stage, the entire funding, the 330-odd thousand, was allocated to Aldenham Park. But through the design process, the staff have identified drainage issues which would make it really problematic to have these active sporting elements at that park. So I guess since council had supported the allocation of the funding to this park, from the time that was announced, I've received numerous emails come through from the community and had numerous discussions with people in the community, and there's the consistent feedback that there's lots for the little kids to do, but there's not anything once they hit 8 years old and above, and that there's also grandparents around and older people that aren't working that like to get out and use the parks as well. So I think this makes sense. It's a common sense element. We know that in this part of Southern River, the park system doesn't meet what the city would ordinarily have as a 4,000 square metre square park. The parks are multi-purpose, they're drainage and they're environmental assets as well. So we know that we don't have parks that would fit the normal mould. So I think we need to move to changing what we do to actually fit what we have to meet the needs of our community. And I think as councillors and elected members, that's exactly what we're here for. We're here to be the conduit between what the community wants, how they use a place, and what actually works, what we're being told from the city staff. So I think coming to that consideration, I know it's short notice and much of the community has already heard that there's going to be a bigger park there at Aldenham, but I think if we were to do that bigger park, they wouldn't be happy with the final result. And I guess to share, I did receive a lot of the emails, and to share some of the words that have been put in here, I'll read a few of them to you. It says, as for playgrounds, would it be possible for a third basketball court or a netball court or a pickleball court? Something that would be multi-use would be really good, and we're really lacking these sorts of purposes. Another one has said they definitely need something for much older kids, so a design with it not being super simple and restricted to smaller children would be appreciated. And even some friends I've talked to believe the local playgrounds are super childish and that kids and teens have not been considered with the designs, and I think we really need to find something that caters for our enjoyment as well, rather than just smaller children. I have another one that's requested volleyball, and they've said they have to go out of the area or catch buses to actually be able to get out there and do some sports. I've got another parent that said it's always a joy to see kids out in the park. There's nothing better than them seeing them leave the house and playing outdoors, but there's not much for them to do once they get to those older age groups. So they really think a soccer goal would be great. Again, I've got another basketball one. I've got many emails that have come through, and they're all very consistent. And the other thing that I did receive in relation to Aldenham Park was feedback from the community is that they really valued the natural elements of the park. So they valued the open grass areas, they valued the lines of trees, they valued the planting around the area. So they asked for if there was equipment, not to have plasticky equipment. They asked for something that complemented the natural environment that they're used to in that area. So I think this is the opportunity to get on top of what our community really wants, try something different, and then we can go from there rather than always going, well, this doesn't fit our normal box, so we don't know what to do. We'll just do something compromised. We'll do something that we think that the community has told us meets their needs. So, councillors, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And as a seconder, I will speak in support of this amendment. I went for a drive past Aldenham, and whilst the structure that was proposed to be put there looked nice and magnificent, it didn't look like there was going to be much left on that park for anything else. So I think the decision to split that money up and put over 2 parks is very good, and I think it's a good outcome for the community. And speaking of volleyball, I was at Yes Plaza on the weekend, and there's actually a volleyball net up there. I don't know if the city's put it up or if someone's put it up themselves, and there was about 15 girls playing volleyball right next to it in the big open field. Don't know if that's ours, but anyway, it's definitely something that is used in the community, the volleyball, so would be good to see some open space, some activity for older kids within that Southern River pocket down that towards that other end. So, well, we do thank the state government for the $150,000 for Aldenham, and if this goes through, the city will be paying for the one at the other park. So that's fantastic. I think it's a really good outcome for the people in Southern River. So happy to support your amendment, Councillor Lloyd. Thank you.
I just want to say that this is brilliant, and this is what our role is as a council. And I want to applaud you, Councillor Williamson, Deputy Mayor Williamson, because when this came to the workshop last week, it's something that I highlighted was a real problem too, is that we need to be adaptive in listening to what the community wants, and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on something that nobody asked for is not a solution. And I think not only just for this park, where Councillor Williamson has been able to bring it up thinking it may be short notice, but it's better to change our minds and do what the community wants, whether because that's what they're asking us for. And I think that this will be a good case for a couple of other parks maybe that we have coming up, that we don't just do the cookie cutter same parks that we've been doing, because I also receive significant amount of feedback from the community about our parks too, being very focused to that younger generation, and having a 13-year-old myself and wanting to see my child get off his devices and get out into the community. I think that this is absolutely brilliant, and I applaud you again, and I hope that we can see more of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Is there any further debate on the amendment, councillors? No. And would you like to close, Deputy Mayor? No. If you would like to put the vote on the amendment, thank you, councillors. Thank you. That has been carried, and we'll put the amendment back with the original item, which will obviously now read what the amendment does for recommendations 1 and 2. So, councillors, is there any further debate on the original item? No. If you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. I think at the end. So there are no confidential matters, and just before we close, I will let anyone know that's listening at home and in the gallery that we're now going to caretaker mode. Do we not? Sure. So, well, we're no more council meetings until after the next election, so we're now in caretaker mode, so we won't be dealing with any... We'll still have council meetings, yes. Ian, you're complicating this.
But they just won't be...
So I'm going to start again. We are going into caretaker mode. We will not be dealing with items that bind this council financially going forward, and we'll be meeting as normal after the elections. But for now, we're in caretaker mode, still having council meetings. I declare the meeting closed at 8:22. Thank you. My goodness, that was fun.
We didn't have workshops, but we needed to announce.
We don't have workshops. We do. We don't.
I tend not to have workshops.